History of Directed Energy Weapons. This is put together by Ewing, 2001, also known as Nico Haupt. So we're going to go pre-9/11. From the 1900s to 1943, we had Nikola Tesla, who lived from 1856 to 1943, noted inventor, scientist, and electrical engineer, works on plans for a directed energy weapon. He calls it Teleforce weapon or death ray. This death ray would send concentrated beams of particles through the free air. This death ray of such tremendous energy that they will bring down a fleet of 10,000 enemy airplanes at a distance of 250 miles from a defending nation's borders. I believe Nikola Tesla felt he could stop all war once people understood the power of that weapon. He thought he had the solution to stopping war. Okay, that's my edition. 1940s, Nazi Germany increasingly put its hopes on research into technologically revolutionary secret weapons, the Wunderwaffen. Among the directed energy weapons the Nazis investigated were sonic weaponry using parabolic reflectors to project sound waves of destructive force. And you can find this on Nico Haupt's node. Here, I'll show you the node. It's 911researchers.com/node/1206. And this was an interesting one, but I couldn't understand it because it was in German. I also wondered about these pictures. You know, you didn't know, did these things actually happen, or were they just, proposed? So then 1970, Shiva Star, originally just Shiva, starts as a high-powered pulse power research device located at the Air Force Research Laboratory on the Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The program is later redirected to studies for the Strategic Defense Initiative. 1979, let's see, get the dates here. E. Anthony Fessler releases Directed Energy Weapons, a Judicial Analysis. 1982, Jeffrey Lynn Pruitt releases The Deployment of Directed Energy Weapons in Outer Space, an Evolution, master's thesis. 1980s, Ronald Reagan proposes his Strategic Defense Initiative program, which was immediately nicknamed Star Wars. The program includes directed energy weapons. I haven't listened to this YouTube insert. January 1982, Popular Science magazine releases a cover story about beam weapons. The article states that space-based lasers or particle beam devices could kill enemy missiles almost instantaneously. Wyoming Senator Malcolm Wallop, who favors speedy development. Actual physical pieces of the system already exist, only the money and the will to put them together is lacking. Of the three systems tested, only the TRW laser has direct application to space. Chemical lasers are well suited to space because they need no electrical hookups. Because the beam results from chemistry, not from the sudden discharge of a capacitor battery system, it can be fired in rapid single-shot bursts or be left on until its fuel is gone. DARPA, D-A-R-P-A, I can't remember what that acronym is for. DARPA's leading chemical laser for space deployment is called ALPHA, a device forecast to produce 5 megawatt pulses of 2.7 micron laser light using a 4-meter glass mirror. It is thus the basis for a mythical weapon called 5/4. Alpha is under development at TRW and Rockwell's Rocketdyne. The Talon Gold equipment under development at Lockheed Corp will be tested aboard a military manned space shuttle mission in 1985. Space weapon activists in Congress and industry want a Manhattan Project type commitment to have a laser picket line operating by the early 1990s. They say such a priority is justified because the Soviet Union is far ahead of the U.S. and has already demonstrated one laser in space. 1987, Dietrich Schroer releases Directed Energy Weapons and Strategic Defense, a primer. 1987, Avco Everett Research Lab in Massachusetts publicizes a nuclear reactor magneto-hydrodynamic power generator for directed energy weapons. February, and he's got footnotes for all these. February 1990, after blocking a free energy cold fusion project on behalf of U.S. Department of Energy, Professor Stephen E. Jones in Los Alamos, our friend Stephen E. Jones, collaborates in experiments including on directed energy, antimatter, and neutrino at physics labs, including TRIUMF, Vancouver, British Columbia, KEK, Tsukuba, Japan, and the Rutherford Appleton Laboratory at Oxford University. August 22, 1991, first official full-scale satellite lethality experiment is using a high-energy laser successfully completed with Miracl, M-I-R-A-C-L, laser. 1992, the Pulse Laser Vulnerability Test System, PLVTS program starts. August 1992, Army Space Command, home of satellite systems, Army astronauts, and Army Space Support Teams merges with the command. 1995, Shivastar, now as part of SDI, creates the idea of compact toroids of high-density plasma. The plasma projectiles would be shot at a speed expected to be 3,000 kilometers per second in 1995 and 10,000 kilometers per second, 3% of the speed of light, by 2000. A shot has the energy of 5 pounds of TNT exploding. 1996 to 1999, intellectual underpinnings of future combat systems through Army After Next, a series of war games. 1997, the Missile Defense Agency, MDA, officially starts to work with directed energy weapons. See High Tech Conspiracy from Static Agenda, August 15, 2008. 1997, the Mid-Infrared Advanced Chemical Laser, that's with M-I-R-A-C-L, Mid-Infrared Advanced Chemical Laser, an experimental U.S. Navy deuterium fluoride laser developed by TRW is successfully tested against an Air Force satellite. October 1st, 1997, the Department of the Army creates its newest major command, the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, SMDC. It is linked to the High Energy Laser Systems Test Facility, HELSTF, at White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico. October 2, 1997, Secretary of Defense William S. Cohen approves an experiment that will be used to reduce the vulnerability of the U.S. satellite systems. The purpose of the experiment is to collect data that will help improve computer models used for planning protection measures for U.S. satellites. The experiment is being conducted by the U.S. Army's Mid-Infrared Advanced Chemical Laser, Miracl, M-I-R-A-C-L, located at White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico. White Sands Missile Range on Cutting Edge. That's going to be the YouTube one here. And then 21-10-97, Miracl, built by TRW, is an offshoot of the Reagan administration's Strategic Defense Initiative. Okay, 1097, Fast.org releases a paper which states that last week's test firing of a laser beam targeting an Air Force satellite failed to provide the Pentagon with all the information it wanted about how vulnerable on American satellites might be to a laser attack by a hostile nation. 1998, in Britain, the second annual Directed Energy Weapons Conference includes the UK Ministry of Defence, Raytheon, US Air Force Research Laboratory, TRW, Lytton TASC, US Naval Medical Research Laboratory, National Defense Research Establishment, Sweden, and Marconi. 1999, the Directed Energy Professional Society, DEPS, is created. Among their most prominent members are demolition expert Van Romero and Norman Mineta, ex-Lockheed. Before 9/11, Romero will become a roundtable discussion moderator of the future of directed energy education. February 08, 1999, Team SBL IFX is created. Project title, Directed Energy Technology for Countering Indirect Weapons. Among the board members are Dr. Redding J. Benedict, Jr., the Schaffer Corporation, and Dr. Robert L. Beyer, Stanford Photonics Research Center, Dr. Alan H. Epstein, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and Madeline L. Nadeau, Sanda National Laboratories, and Dr. Gregory H. Canavan, Los Alamos National Laboratory, DARPA, Directed Energy Panel. March 1998, Boeing and TRW, together known as Team SBL, are awarded a 6-month contract worth $10 million to define the concepts for a space-based laser readiness demonstrator, SBLRD. July 10, 1998, TRW is rewarded a $77.8 million contract by the National Reconnaissance Office, NRO, to design, build, and operate the Geosynchronous Lightweight Technology Experiment, GeoLight, satellite program. The company has also built 7 NASA Tracking and Data Relay Satellite Systems, TDRSS satellites, 8 Navy UHF Fleet Satellite Communication Satellites, 16 Defense Satellite Communication System, DSCS-2 satellites, and 8 Intelsat 3 satellites. November 30th, 1998, JYA.com reports that in the 13 months since it test-fired the nation's most powerful laser at a dying Air Force satellite, the Army has quickly continued refining the system's ability to track and detect satellites, while the debate over space control weapons continues. 1999, the U.S. Army begins concept for future combat systems under Army Chief of Staff General Eric K. Shinseki, who describes it as part of the objective force. After 9/11, Shinseki also becomes one of the leading strategists in the war on terror in Iraq. Okay, more YouTube inserts here. February 1999, the USAF awards a contract for the SBL Integrated Flight Experiment, SBL-IFX, the new name for SBLRD, which stands for Space-Based Laser Readiness Demonstrator. May 19, 1999, science.nasa.gov reports about new advanced Star Wars technology, which also is transmitting enough data through a communication line to produce 3D images. That's interesting. I wonder if that competes with holograms. November 30th, 1999, Marconi Electronic Systems, MES, or GEC Marconi Unit until 1998, is acquired by British Aerospace, BAE, to form BAE Systems. Original owner Guglielmo Marconi, the 25th of April, 1874 to the 20th of July, 1937, was an Italian inventor, best known for his development of a radiotelegraph system competing with other patents of Hertz, Branly, Tesla, and Lodge. I thought he didn't know what Tesla knew. I thought he couldn't explain in court for Marconi. Anyway, 2000, The NASA, NRO, and NSA gives out at least 40 contracts for future combat system which integrates directed energy weapons. Officially, 4 industry teams are competing in the first phase of the program. The Boeing company leads a team of 8 firms. TRW Inc. leads Team Gladiator, which has 6 companies. Team Full Spectrum, which has 10 companies, is led by SAIC. The 4th competitor, called Team Focus Vision, has 13 members and is led jointly by General Dynamics Land Systems and the Raytheon Company. The concept design phase is scheduled for completion by October 2001. And then he has one that he meant calling JFCOM and, AMTI/SAC. That's what he did here. March 2000, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, BAE, and Raytheon create B2B exchange for the aerospace and defense industry. Through its products, portals, and services, Commerce One creates access to worldwide markets, allowing anyone to buy from anyone, anywhere, anytime. April 26, 2000, Space Daily reports that TRW conducted a test of the alpha high-energy laser that produced a 25% increase in the laser's output power and improved its quality. The 6-second test of the megawatt-class alpha was performed March 28th at TRW Capistrano test site in Southern California as part of the Alpha Laser Optimization ALO program. ALO is funded jointly by the Air Force and Ballistic Missile Defense Organization, BMDO. The photo story includes Dr. Rettig P. Benedict, Jr., DEPS team founder of ASAT Weaponry. September 2000. Randy Buff, scientist of the Army Space and Missile Defense Command, confirms that his office is considering to integrate use of high-energy laser weapons for FCS, Future Combat System. National Defense Magazine points out that FCS will be the platform for what the Army calls the objective force. More YouTube stuff here. October 17, 2000, Blackstone to be integrated into TRW contains the mortgage for WTC-7. The press text says that it has purchased from Teachers Insurance and Annuity Association the participating mortgage secured by 7 World Trade Center, a commercial office complex controlled by real estate developer Larry Silverstein. 3rd of October to the 3rd of November 2000, the 3rd annual Directed Energy Symposium proceedings takes place in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Preliminary program and registration is at Kirtland Air Force Base, White Sands Missile Range. November 6, 2000, TRW Inc. is releasing a press release confirming that SBL/IFX is awarded $97 million for next phase of space-based laser program. 28th of November 2000, Space.com reports about the space-based laser SBL concept. The idea is seen as next-generation directed energy weaponry, whereby dozens of space platforms would be interlinked to create an Earth-orbiting global missile defense system. In early November, the Air Force awarded a $97 million contract to 3 companies, TRW Space and Electronics Group, Lockheed Martin Missiles and Space Operations, and Boeing Space and Communication Group. 2001, Lieutenant General John Costello, the USA SMDC commander, observes that directed energy technology has the potential to be a key component to the Army transformation effort. January 25, 2001, Space Daily reports about a successful integrated ground test of the Alpha high-energy laser, its beam director telescope, and the associated beam alignment and correction system, which have provided the team developing the space-based laser integrated flight experiment, SBL/IFX. A joint venture comprising TRW, Lockheed Martin, and Boeing. 2001, Gerald A. Smith founds Postronics Research at limited liability company Santa Fe, New Mexico, antimatter weaponry. He is also the principal investigator and spokesperson for several major national and international collaborations involving university groups working at Brookhaven National Laboratory, CERN, Fermilab, and the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center. And you've got more stuff you can watch here on YouTube. April 31st, 2001 to December 16th, 2003. Lieutenant General Joseph M. Consumano, Jr. is the commander of the U.S. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, SMDC, and the U.S. Army Space Command. Summer of 2001, Nanoenergetics, Inc., Novacentrex, starts working on nanothermite weaponry, aka superthermite, under a $250,000 Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, DARPA, contract to develop wall-breaching rounds that can be fired from weapons like a rocket launcher. September 2001. National Defense Magazine describes laser weapons for ground combat ranging from air defense chemical lasers that destroy incoming rockets to smaller devices that could zap enemy antennas. The Air Force is developing a megawatt airborne laser that would destroy intercontinental ballistic missiles. For the future combat system, the Army's next generation tank, the goal is to have a 100 kilowatt uncooled solid state laser. In the commercial sector, TRW Inc. has built 4 to 5 kilowatt solid state lasers for industrial machining applications. The company is a prime contractor for military chemical laser programs, including THEL, the airborne laser, and the space-based laser projects. September 11, 2001. On the morning of 9/11, the NRO, who gave out contracts on future combat system, is officially putting a terror exercise on hold. Spokesman Art Haubold tells UPI it was just a coincidence. It wasn't an anti-terrorism exercise. It was an emergency response exercise. It was just a strange coincidence. The NRO's internal wargaming division planned the drill. NGA Public Affairs, Office of Future Warfare Systems, is NGA's main point of contact for the Missile Defense Agency, MDA, which works with directed energy weapons since at least 1997. 9/11. Both twin towers disintegrate for unexplained reasons, wiping out also complete DNAs. Early speculations on the Internet point on Tesla weapons obtained by unknown terrorists. This spin is later replaced by a much more popular so-called conventional controlled demolition thesis. Post 9/11. September 28, 2001, smdc.army.mil celebrates the SSHCL at a ribbon ceremony. Among the participants are Dr. Randy Buff, SSHCL at SMDC, Lieutenant Colonel Lynn Tronti, Director, Health Staff, Dr. William H. Goldstein, Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. It says that Health's HELSTF has enough electrical efficiency to produce a 100 kilowatt laser beam from 1 megawatt of power. October 29th to November 1st, 2001, the 4th Annual Directed Energy Symposium held classified sessions at Camber and SCS facilities in Huntsville. Gerald Wilson, MTHEL Program Manager in SMDC, wins the Best Paper Award for his presentation at the 2001 Annual DE Symposium. The event also includes Beam Control System Design by Dr. Charles Albers, MEVATEC Corporation, which presents the basics of high-energy laser, HEL beam control, ATP design. Other panelists include Dr. Thomas Ramessier, Vice President and General Manager, Space and Technology Division, TRW Space and Electronics. Mr. Tom McDonald, Vice President, Laser and Electro-Optical Systems, Space and Communications Group, The Boeing Company. Mr. Samuel Williams, Chief Scientist, Space-Based Laser Programs, Lockheed Martin Missiles and Space. Mr. Michael Bowen, Vice President of Directed Energy Weapons, Product Line of Missile Systems, Raytheon Corp. Dr. Randy Buff, Program Manager, SSHCL, USA, SMDC. Colonel Eileen Polikowski, Director, ABL, SPO, Airborne Laser, ABL Program. Colonel Yvette Faltko-Hecht, Director, SBL, SPO, Space-Based Laser, SBL Program. October 30th, 2001, at the DE Symposium, Gerald Wilson, Program Manager, Mithel, USAS MDC, describes the solid-state heat capacity laser, SSHCL. November 7th, 2001, Optics Report describes the goal of Raytheon's directed energy weapons product line. December 1st, 2001, Optics Report describes directed energy weapons to surpass the speed limitations of bombs and missiles. Boeing, Vice President of Raytheon's directed energy weapons product line, indicates that laser energy may be the best way to destroy an enemy Scud missile. And when longevity is factored in, directed energy weapons may be the cheaper solution. And when the article also covers Boeing, GER Corporation, JPL, Lockheed Martin, Optech Ventures, Ruda and Associates Inc., Sparta Inc., Zeus, Technical Research Associates Inc., TRW, and Textron Defense Systems, 2002. Zeus, developed by Bob Bowman's former company General Dynamics and upgraded at the High Energy Laser Systems Test Facility, HELSTF, at White Sands Missile Range, New Mexico, is requested to be deployed to Afghanistan. General John M. Keane, Vice Chief of Staff of the Army, 1999 to 2003. So I think I'm going to call it quits. If you want more than 2002, we're up to May 2002. I shall continue if there is interest. If there's interest.